49, 50. Oh, college you. Oh.
Dan, what's going on? What happened?
I hurt my shoulder from lifting.
Oh, it hurts. I'm sorry to hear that. Here, give me your left hand. I'll help you up. Here, have a seat, Dan. So you hurt it while lifting?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Let's talk about it. What's going on, you two? It's Dan, it's Ken, it's Dan and Ken PT. And today, we're going to talk about shoulder impingement. Guys, before we talk about impingement of the shoulder, let's do a very, very quick anatomy lesson of the shoulder complex. So guys, as you can see here, this is the shoulder complex. This would be someone's right shoulder facing you. Now, I want you to look at a couple things. The acromion, that bone, which is part of your shoulder blade. The subacromial space, which just means the space under the acromion. Your rotator cuff tendon, specifically that's your supraspinatus tendon. Now, when you raise your arm, impingement happens when that rotator cuff tendon rubs into that acromion process, that bone, and you can get pain if those rub onto each other. Side note though, a lot of people actually already have shoulder impingement but are symptom-free and live life normally. So don't be worried if you have shoulder impingement with pain. There are things you could do to help. And Dan and I are going to show you right now.
So now that we've gone over the anatomy, let's talk about what exactly is impingement.
Right. What is impingement in itself? Like, what's the definition? We didn't look up the definition, but in our own eyes as therapists, impingement itself is very common in the shoulder, and it's basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, it's when two structures kind of bump into each other or impinge on each other when they're not supposed to. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and there's a lot of types of impingement. So you've got intrinsic, extrinsic, primary and secondary.
Right, so four main kinds, right? You said what? Intrinsic, extrinsic, primary, and secondary. What are the two main common types out of those four?
Main common types of primary and secondary.
I would agree. We see a lot of primary and secondary. So what's primary impingement?
So that's when there's direct compression from the actual structure.
An example would be like a rotator cuff tendon bumping into one of your bony prominences on your scapula or shoulder blade. And that's more common in people above like 40 with some wear and tear issues, if you will. What about secondary?
Well, secondary, it's more from instability of the shoulder. So you see that a lot more in younger adults, overhead athletes.
Pitchers, right?
Yeah, a lot of pitchers.
A lot of that repetitive, bam. If they don't have enough stability, they might get some secondary impingement in there. And for primary and secondary, it could be from a traumatic incident or non-traumatic. So it's based on what the patient is telling you or what you're telling yourself. Did you get in an accident? Have you been doing an exercise for a while and the pain is just getting worse and worse and worse? So things like that. So Dan, why don't we tell everyone what could help with this impingement or prevent it if you don't even have it?
So I'm going to show you a couple of exercises that you can do at home to prevent or to treat shoulder impingement.
Sure. I may show one or two as well. See you soon, guys. So the first exercise, we're going to use a cane or a golf club or something like this, okay? And let's say I hurt my left shoulder. I'm going to mirror you guys at home. What you're going to do is you're going to take your right hand, and that's going to be the working arm. You're going to go ahead and push as high as you can, pain-free, down slow. Remember, your right arm is doing all the work because you hurt your left arm. The goal of this exercise is to just maintain your range of motion and prevent your shoulder from getting stiff. Remember, numbers not important, consistency is. Maybe every other day, 10 to 20 times is a nice place to start. Right arm does the work if the left arm got hurt.
Alright guys, this next exercise is to strengthen your internal rotators. So what you want to get is a TheraBand. The link is in the description below. You can buy this online at Amazon. So with the TheraBand, you want to tie a knot at one end. So the knotted end goes through the doorway at home here. You're going to close the door over the knot so it's going to hold the band in. And you want to set it about here, towards your waist. And then you want to grab a towel roll as well. Put that underneath your armpit. That's just going to help to put your arm in a better position to start. So take a couple steps away from the door so you have a little bit of tension on the band. Start with your arm at neutral here, and then you're going to pull in. So you're internally rotating your shoulder, slowly come back out. So in, and slow and controlled on the way out. You can do 10, 20 reps. Remember, the repetitions don't matter, consistency does.
Now I do want to point out, as Dan is doing this, he's maintaining a nice gentle scapular retraction. So he's not letting his shoulder round out, he's keeping it back just a little bit. Okay guys, the third exercise is great for strengthening your external rotators of your rotator cuff. This is called side lying external rotation. So what you're going to do is grab that towel, put it under your elbow, and all you're going to do is lift your arm and then down slow. Externally rotate that shoulder, down slow. Now, this exercise is actually working two joints, your shoulder and also your scapular thoracic joint. So Dan, come on the back here. And you can actually see my shoulder blade retract, then externally rotate. So retract, externally rotate. 1, 2. Perfect. Consistency is important here, guys. The number isn't too important. Maybe 20 repetitions every other day is a good place to start. So watch again. Retract, externally rotate. Guys, let's do a quick recap of today's video. We talked about the anatomy of the shoulder complex, types of impingement and what impingement is, and most importantly, some things you could do at home to treat this condition and prevent it from happening in the future. We really hope you liked the video. If you did, give a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. And if you have questions or suggestions for further videos, please don't hesitate to email us at danandkenpt@gmail.com. And remember, live, laugh,